All right, so today's webinar is ChatLink, another made-up NetDocs term to really discuss the NetDocs Teams integration. So that's what we're going to go over today. Now, before we do that, there's always three things we do just to keep me on my toes. Let's see what's up to any changes with NetDocs, um, any new blog posts we've written about topics, and any new events that we're having. The events are pretty much staying the same, and usually during the summer we just kind of see a slowdown, although we still have events for everything. All right, so let's come over here to NetDocs announcements. All right, this upcoming NetDocs network update, and so I think you've all experienced this. You've seen the messages, but NetDocs is doing some major infrastructure changes, and it has been for the last couple of months. Now, realistically, there's for firms that are on this call, firms that we've implemented, there's really nothing for you to do. And I think it more likely will affect us as people that implement to NetDocs. But I think some of the major changes are happening to the US June 13th. Okay. Now, the good news is that they've run through all the other data centers besides the US and the UK and Canada, but they've run through the other ones. So when they do the US, it won't be the first time that they'll done it. There's nothing that you should really experience. And a notice will be posted at least 10 days in advance of when they do it. That's why I think they just posted something about the June 13th. So it would be today where they post it. You shouldn't see anything happen. It might affect a NetDocs migration or something like that. But other than that, we should be in good shape there. 2026 web refreshes. So there was an update here, or this is going to be released June 3rd, which is today. But these are all the same. We talked about them in the last webinar. There's mainly the collab space admin power bar, I think would be the big thing there. And let's see. Nothing else really has changed since the last time we talked. If we come over here to Optimal's website, and we're going to go to NetDocuments tips. I did create this article here, which I think might be useful here. This is how to use the ND Office Echo folder, including during a NetDocs outage. So I just explained if there is a NetDocs service disruption, if we've set you up with NetDocs and it was done correctly, the last 14 days of your documents are sitting on your computer. And I explain how to actually work in those and how you can actually change that date as well to a different time. So that's what this article here is going over, how to work out of your Echo folder, which is in ND Office. Let's see here. Using NetDocs with the new Outlook. I get these questions all the time, so there's an article about that as well. Let's come over to events. We're doing ChatLink. June 17th, I'm going to be doing a NetDocs advanced training. So when I roll a law firm out with NetDocs, we do an initial Windows users training, and then usually a week to 2 weeks later, we do an advanced training. I'm just going to do a canned advanced training for everyone. This is great where if you don't have people, you don't want to pay me to do the training. You know, if I do the training for your firm, you have to pay me. If you go to this one, you don't have to pay me. The only thing about this one is it's on generic data. And then July 1st, we'll do the collab space training, and I'll have to update the manual with the new collab space stuff. At the end of July, we'll do an office hours. And then August 5th, we'll do an admin training. And then we'll just have an office hours. We keep the summer a little bit lighter just because just not a lot of attendance and people are doing stuff. All right. And so let's go over our webinar today, which is chat link training or the Teams integration. You know, NetDocs has to make up a name about everything. So let's go over the first thing. Do you have the integration? All right. So I'm going to come over to NetDocs. I'm going to come over to admin, click on the little hamburger right here, and we're going to go to information and settings. Now, you can only do this if you're a NetDocs repository administrator. Under information, if we come over to plan, if you have a check mark here next to ChatLink, you have the NetDocs ChatLink integration. Okay. So you can integrate NetDocs with Teams. That's what this basically means. Now, what happens if you don't have the integration? I'm going to show you, we're going to start it off of how to use NetDocs and Teams without the ChatLink integration. And we use this all the time. So if I come over and let's say I have this letter to Craig Mayer document here, and here is the NetDocs ID right there. I'm going to hold the shift key down and I'm going to click on it. Okay. Now I am going to jump into Microsoft Teams. We'll come over to a post here and I'm going to create, please review this document. All right. And then I'm going to paste that document here. All right. So there is the document that I want someone to review. I kind of feel like that's an integration, and that's we actually, even with the integration, use that a lot. So I just copy the document. Let's do it again here. So in Teams, I'm going to go to a new post. I'll come back over to NetDocs. I'm going to click the box here, come over to the doc ID, hold down the shift key. The shift key is the clean, nice copy. Come back over to Teams, and then I'm going to paste a link in there. That's an integration. Now, if someone comes over and clicks on this, it will just open up. All right, here's the thing that ticks me off, okay? There's a lot of things that tick me off, but here's the big one on Teams right now is if you're going to use any sort of integration with NetDocs and Teams, and I got to get our IT person back on this, is we need to turn Teams to open up NetDocs in the default browser. What just happened here is Teams, even though my default browser on this computer is Google Chrome, Microsoft is being, I was going to say a bad word, I'll just say crappy here. They're being very crappy, and they're saying, hey, even though the default browser is Chrome, in Teams, I'm going to open up all links in Edge, which I'm not logged into, so I have to go through the login process. They also do that in Outlook. Now, we figured out a registry key, so when you go live with us, we try to push out a registry key to push it back to the default browser. And that is something we need to do in the team setting as well. So because of that, because it's linked to Teams, I would have to then log into Edge here. This is where a lot of people, and I guess Microsoft is one, has just started using Edge. All right. So, but let me back off my rant here. And again, I've showed you a way to easily share documents in Teams with one another. Now, I'm going to go over and we're going to look at a Teams channel set up with the NetDocs integration. I'm going to show you one already set up, and then we're going to set one up together. Now, there's a couple things here, and we are at Optiable big Teams people, okay? So we do use Teams for our communication. And Teams is okay. It is one of those things where I have enough issues where I wonder if we should have gone with Slack, but we started this. We're going to go with Teams. We'll keep on Teams. Anyone here on my team is worried that I'm going to change immediately to another software. I'm not. We will stick with Teams. One of the problems we've had with Teams, and we basically ended up just hiring a Microsoft Teams consultant to help us out, is the organization of Teams itself. The way we used to do it is we would set up a new team for every new law firm client. So any project we had, we'd create a team for it, and then we'd link it to NetDocs. We stopped doing that because he said that's because we have about 70 new projects a year. He goes, that's too much for Teams. What we do now is we create 2026 active matters, and then we create new projects in there as channels, and then we link each channel to NetDocs. You don't have to do it that way. I'm not trying to get you to change the way you set up Teams. I am making a recommendation for our unique situation here. So we're creating a channel, And then when we have a channel, we are integrating it with Teams. Now, I labeled this channel Massive Dynamic General Docket. Let's go into NetDocs. We have Massive Dynamic General Docket. That didn't automatically happen. I had to go into Teams and I created the channel. And I'm going to tell you this too, is the way that we work is when we get a new client, we have an onboarding team, no pun intended again, that goes in, creates the client and matter in our accounting system, which automatically flows into NetDocs. And then that person goes into Teams and basically does everything that we're about to do. So they create the channel, they do the linking. So we have this workspace in NetDocs. I'm going to come over to Teams here and I have added this NetDocs tab. What this is doing is showing the NetDocs view, but it's a little different because Teams is going to show it a little different. So it's showing me here all of the top level folders. So there is an agreements doc type filter. There's a save search. There's a collab space documents filter. There's a correspondence filter. There's a discovery folder. If I open up the agreements filter, it shows me everything in agreements. It's the same thing of coming over into here and opening up agreements. So we are seeing all that same information. You can sort by alphabetical order, I guess, so you can see it a little bit better. But yeah, but here are all the documents here. Here are all the documents in Teams. So do I use this a lot? I mean, sometimes I do, because it does give me an exact view. If I come back to all files, it shows me that top level again. I have not seen a list view, so we're going to have to use a summary view and then just go into one of these files here. But we do see the save searches. Now, if I come over here and check the box, what can I do? Well, I can open up the document. I can open in Word, I can open in Word Online, or open in NetDocs, meaning it'll bring me to where the document is located in NetDocs. It doesn't actually open it. It will do the preview. What's this do? Okay, open in Word is going to come over. All right. And it's going to open up the document. So this works just like a regular NetDocs works here. All right. If we come over here and if we go over to open in Word Online, we'll just bring this to Word Online, although it's Edge and I'm not logged in Edge, so we'll pass on that one. And then we're going to come over here, open in NetDocs, will bring me to the document in NetDocs, but it's pointing to Edge here, so I've really kind of messed this part up here. All right, so next time I'll know to figure out, because it's embedded in there, how to change it to open in the default browser, or realistically, I just should have just logged in Edge. All right, preview here will show you the preview of the document, and you get the document details pane over here. So here's the whole document, and then there is the document details. And then if I want to get out of this, I just close it and hide it. Delete if you have the rights to delete this document, and I can say I don't have the rights for that one, but if I do not have permission, if I did have permission, I could delete the document. Refresh will just refresh the view that you have here. Filter will just let you break it down by like you can change the filter. So I want to look at this by last modified date. This is almost like doing a search in the matter itself to see specific pieces of information here. So filter is going to let you, and you can do multiple ones here. You're searching in the workspace and you're in to find something. Realistically, at this point, I'm probably jumping into NetDocs to do it, but they have that here. Same thing with search here. This is let you search for the document name of any document in this workspace. Okay, so if I type in Smith here, it's going through this workspace to find anything that has Smith in the name. So it's not doing a text and file search or anything like that. All right, we'll come back to all files. We'll come over to add here. We can add a file, so we can upload a document from our computer here, which will then also add it to NetDocs. We could create a new folder if we needed to. And this one here, I've just never had a use for. I know there's some people that do. If you are using Teams to share documents, so you're basically sharing documents in SharePoint integrated with Teams, you can move those documents by clicking Move from Teams file to move it into the NetDocs workspace, and then it will delete it from Teams. So that's something kind of new that they've released there. Sign out will sign you out, but I don't want to do that. And then we have this button here, which will bring you to the workspace in NetDocs. And realistically, I'm going to bite the bullet and not be a child and just log in, right? So we can see this because I keep saying this, we keep get brought into the Edge login screen. So let me not be a baby and give into Microsoft here because it's every single thing that I click on. No, I do not want to try Edge. All right. So let's come back over to Teams again. And then if we come over and we go to open in NetDocs, will bring us, see, just brings you to the document in NetDocs itself. That's what it does. All right. So that is this actual tab that gets added here. All right. What is the drop down to here? Okay. This is just a search and recent workspaces. That's fine. All right. Let's go to another factor here. Oh, there's something else. Let's come over to share because I skipped that. So share in Teams channel. This will take this document and it's going to post it into the Teams channel. This is like me going in and copying the link here. And then this gives people a preview, view, check out, open in Word Online. So it is a way, if you're using this view here, to grab documents and just throw them into the Teams channel here. And then what else can we do with share? Email link, email copy, or copy a link. So you have all that functionality built into there as well. Let's roll over and talk about the other thing it'll do. If I'm going to post here and I don't want to come up to this NetDocs tab, all right. All right, I'm going to say, please review. I can then come over here and I'm going to choose this NetDocs US Vault and I'm going to search for a document and I'm only doing by document name. It finds the document and then I can go in and post it in there. So that's coming over here, choosing NetDocs, US Vault, Canada, Germany, DE, etc. And then you can post it right there. All right. So that's the Teams integration. Now, I'm going to come over here to this channel that we have created. This channel is not integrated with NetDocs at all. So we're going to integrate it in this webinar today. And let me just come up here. All right. I'm going to come over to the add button. I'm going to come over to apps and I am going to choose NetDocs US Vault. This is the old one that is it really shouldn't show up anymore, but it's not in use anymore. So you want this lighter blue. It should say US Vault or Canada if you're in Canada, or DE if you're in Germany, or Pacific Gov, whatever thing. But for you, US, we want to choose the US Vault. You would have searched for that, by the way. Let me do this again here so you see it here. It just come up because I've already looked at it the first time. I would come over here, type in NetDocuments. Because this search is not as good as NetDocs, so if I misspell, all right, I'll choose US Vault. All right, now, for me, because I've already been using this a lot, I'm already connected. If you're not connected, it will ask you to connect to NetDocuments. And in fact, I'm going to come over to, let's do this little blog post here that I've created, and I'll copy this and put it into the chat right now. Let's see if this works. My copy and paste into the chat. Let's see here, is not going to work. Nope, it's not going to work. All right, so can't deal with that now. All right, but anyway, this is what you would see. Once you chose this, you would have to log in. So you might have to log in and hit allow, and then it will be integrated for you. All right, so then it's going to say what cabinet. So your repository optimal, I'm going to come over to my cabinet. And then I'm going to go search for the client. All right. And then I'm going to search for the matter. There it is. I don't have to search. All right. So this is what I'm integrating. Now the tab name is NetDocs. I'm going to keep it that way. Full details. I want the full details about this. So I want to see created by last modified version doc, all that good information. I'm linking to a workspace, like the whole workspace. I'm not linking to a collab space. Um, Post to the channel about this tab. Kind of, I'm going to leave that checked, but I really don't think you need it. And now I'm going to hit save here. Okay, this is the post to the channel about this tab right here. I don't know if that's really that necessary, but it's here. Let me click off now and come back in. And I'm wondering why we don't see it because we just added it. All right, let me just try this again. This kind of sucks because I set all this up before and it was working. All right, full detail. So we'll just uncheck it this time, save. All right. All right. Well, I don't know what's happening here, but if we come over here, and I did this one too, this is what it created here, is the tab is NetDocs, okay? So that is it integrating. I'm not really sure why it's not showing up here, but that's the first thing that I do. The second thing, and I don't know if it's as important because I don't really use it, is if I come over here to search for apps, I'm going to add this NetDocs chat here. I don't know why it's that's not what I want to add here. So something must have happened. I apologize, but we'll just come over here and do the exact same thing because we know this one's working. So the other thing that I do is I come over here. Let's do a new post. All right, click on the three dots. Nope. Post over here. Let's come over here. All right, I'm gonna come over here. I don't know what's going on. Why I am now post this. Let's come over to the blog post, and then I'll go over what I did there. So we set this up. We add the NetDocs extension. So any Teams channel, click on the plus. That's what. First off, I wasn't doing that. So let's just come over here to the Teams channel. I don't really see. There was the plus there, which we added. Apps. So we added that. All right. And then over here, search for NetDocs. I don't know. I mean, what should be happening here? We're unable to log you in to, no, that's not it. So, you know what? Let's just do this. Add channel test. Should we call this please work? Standard, I usually do threads. All right, here. Let's just create a new channel. All right, there's our new channel. I'm going to come over here to apps. All right, I think this is, by the way, I bet you this works now. So there might have been something that, all right, we're going to choose the demo client here, workspace. We'll choose massive dynamic. And we're going to come over to pension lawsuit. I'll put in there, tab name, full details, save. All right. So there's something wrong with that channel. All right. So All right, back on track now. You got to see a little troubleshooting there, so maybe create a new channel, delete the old one in the setup. And that added the pension lawsuit. Now we're going to come back over to shared here. All right, come back over to shared here. We're going to come over to conversation. That's what I was doing wrong. Okay, and I'm going to add the plus here. And then I'm going to search for NetDocs or choose US Vault. Thank you. All right, now I'm not done here. This is searching your entire NetDocs, and I do not want to do that. So this part here is if you're just chatting in there, you want something from the matter you're dealing with. So we'll come to the three dots here. I'm going to come over to settings, and then I'm going to say, hey, so I've got to link it twice. And I don't really use this a lot at all, but it's there. So I wanted to show it to you. Massive dynamic, pension lawsuit. And then I'm going to say search in the workspace. So I only want to search in whatever workspace I'm in, and I'm going to hit save. And then that is going to search into just this workspace. So when I'm doing this and I come over here and I search, something, it is not looking the entire NetDocs. It is only looking in this workspace for this document here. So there's nothing in Smith. It's in the other workspace there. So that really goes over using it. Now I'm gonna bring up a couple other things on. I did update this blog post. It was fairly out of date. So here, adding NetDocs to Microsoft Teams with ChatLink, even though it says it was last updated December 19th, it was last updated today. So I could have changed the date on it, but I didn't. But this just goes over how to set up the whole thing here. And then I want to come over to the manual, which you'll get a copy of this video along with this manual emailed to you. And let's see if there's anything in here that I missed. So from what is ChatLink, setting it up Teams, one-to-one mapping, adding NetDocs to Teams conversations, removing the legacy ChatLink app. I mean, so the legacy app was the one that was called NetDocs that we talked about. There was an older app. So if you've been using this for a while, there was an older app that you would have to remove. It just says NetDocs on it. If you haven't, then there's nothing to worry about here. Again, this says NetDocs US Vault. That's how I know that I'm okay there. This I don't think exists yet, but it will. Saving a Teams post to NetDocs. We're waiting on the app upgrade, and then this feature will be on there. So I'll be able to click on a post. It'll turn it into a PDF and save it into NetDocs. That'll be the newest feature there. And this is the part about moving files from SharePoint to NetDocs. I don't have anyone that wants to do this yet, so I have not done it. But there is the information on how to do it if you wanted to. If you have the Teams app for your smartphone here, you can have the NetDocs app here and use it just the same way we used it here. You might have to re-log in. That's the only issue. All right, so I thought this would be about 30 minutes. It is. This is how we use NetDocs and Teams. I want to open it up to any questions anyone has whatsoever. I apologize if there's noise in the background. I'm at the airport. So, and I'm slow travel here, but any questions about the NetDocs Teams integration? Anything at all? I think the takeaway while I'm waiting for questions, if you do not own the NetDocs Teams integration, I showed you, and I will create a blog post about that too. If you're like, I don't own this, I don't know if I want to buy this or whatever, you can still just copy a document link into Teams and it should work flawlessly as long as you configure Teams to work with your default web browser. Can only admins set up the integration on Teams channels? That's a great question, and let's define the word admins here. So in my, okay, so they're in NetDocs, we have a repository admin. You do not need to be a repository admin to set up the Teams integration. because I know at Angie at our office sets it up on all our new things and is not a repository admin. Although Angie, if you're here, I think you are now, but at one point you weren't, and you always set it up. So you do not need to be a NetDocs repository admin to set up teams. Having said that, you definitely need to have the ability in Teams to, I guess, I don't even add apps, but I don't think I've ever had any of people that work at Optimal not been able to do this. So, but I'm sure there is a lockdown version that doesn't allow you to do this. You don't need to be a NetDocs repository admin, but that you just have to be able to create new Teams channels and add apps to Teams. A great question. Anything else? No one asked me about the Copilot in Teams, which I don't know why I brought it up because I didn't want to talk about it. So I don't know why I'm shooting myself in the foot here because I know you all saw it, right? So there is the ability, and I'm just not getting into it here because honestly, I don't know a lot about it yet. But there's a whole bunch of new NetDocs stuff. This is this right here. This NetDocs Copilot ability to add that integration as well, and which is right here. I don't know a lot about it. I don't have it set up yet, and I haven't played around with it. NetDocs is doing a lot of stuff with AI right now, and you know, their integration with Claude came out a week ago. Everyone's been calling me up, asking me about it. I don't know about it. I mean, I only like to talk about stuff that I actually use and know a little bit about, learn what works, what doesn't. So I think probably towards the end of the summer, we'll maybe create a webinar about some of this stuff with the Copilot integration in Teams, the Claude integration and stuff like that. Because you'll see it there when it's there. That wasn't the purpose of this webinar today, is talk about Copilot. But all right. Lindsay, your hand is up now. I don't know if I just didn't. Here, I'm gonna lower everyone's hands. If you want to ask a question again, Lindsay, just raise your hand again and I'll unmute you to ask. I don't know if I forgot to just unmute when I asked everyone or unraise everyone's hands. So if anyone wants to verbally ask a question, please raise your hand and I will let you ask it. All right, thanks. Sorry about that, Lindsay. That was my fault, not yours. All right. Everyone have a great summer and we'll do an advanced training. Again, just real quick, advanced training, great for new employees, stuff like that. It really covers a lot of what's in here under more and some just like more powerful NetDocs tips. We'll do a collab space training again. I'll add that admin stuff in there since it's been added. And then we'll do an office hours. Everyone have a great summer. I'll talk to you soon.